Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good day and welcome to the show. Listen, I'm glad to have you guys here. Today is Thursday, the 26th of March, 2020. Welcome to the show. Now, listen, let's get talking here. We got a lot to talk about. Let's start the charts right here and let's take a look. China just sent 150,000 test kits to Prague. They send them to Russia. 80% of them don't work. Right? Uh, Here's the thing. Could this be the test kits that China's using themselves? You know? And do 80%, maybe 90%, maybe 100% of these test kits have false negative? Well, no wonder then China hasn't reported any new cases. But anyway, getting down to the nitty gritty of it all. There's reports coming out of China right now. 21 million cell phone users have dropped out of sight. Those accounts are gone. 21 million. Okay? What could it all mean? Well, I'm going to tell you what. I did a little bit of math on my calculator. The United States has a smaller population than China. Russia has a far smaller population than China. Russia is only half the population of the United States. India's got a huge population. Monster population. India has the people in India are extremely bright, extremely intelligent. What are they doing right now? Well, they're quarantining all their whole population. Everybody's sent home. That's because they're scared. They know about these reports coming from China, 21 million people dropping off the cell phone list. They want to keep this out of their country because they don't want to lose, because they got a little bit bigger population in China. They don't want to lose 30 million cell phone users in India. Okay? Now comparing the population of the United States to China, how many cell phone users will we lose? Could possibly lose 3 to 5 million. Okay? Russia, how many could they lose? Maybe 2.5 million? And this is all happening quick because China's a couple months behind us on all this. It started in China. It festered over there earlier than it's festering here. Now it's festering here. You know how when you get a splinter in your finger, it festers, and it doesn't fester initially immediately. It takes a couple days. Well, this takes a little while to fester. It takes a couple months to fester. But it's been festering over in China, and look at what the result is. Because of all this, I would say in the next 60 to 90 days, we're in for a world of pain. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you guys. I'd say that we're in for a world of pain in our country. I think China's starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel over in China now. And they just don't want, they want to basically ignore it and get their factories back going again in China. That's basically what they want to do. And what they're trying to ignore is something that's huge, but it's, this thing moves like the wind. And, at this point, it looks like even with all your efforts, all you can do is slow it down a little bit. You can slow it down, but it takes a tremendous effort even to slow it down. Anyway, I think we're in for a world of pain. And so anyway, it's all lined up that way for a world of pain. That's all I gotta keep saying about that. Let's turn on the charts and take a look at the silver price today. I'll tell you what I think's gonna happen with these markets, Honest to gosh. I think these markets are gonna have an awful lot of a hard time, over the next couple months, holding any sort of keeping the market stability, any sort of stability in these markets over the next couple months. They want to deflate, you know? And so the Fed's just going to have to keep pumping all that money in there, and probably more as this gets worse over the next couple months, as this gets really starts to take a toll on not only people's not only lives, but it starts to take a toll on people mentally. I mean, being confined and everything has an effect on you mentally, your mental stability, for everyone out there. I mean, this is possibly, I've never seen a situation that causes more stress. This strikes home on a personal level to each and every individual in the United States, even these people that are in denial out there who basically, that's just a self-protective instinct. And I mean, we shouldn't be mad at them. The people out there that just can't accept what's happening, and they just uh, making light of it, making light of the whole thing. They're in denial, and they're protecting their own psyche. They're protecting themselves this way because they can't accept the truth of what's really happening, that the world is actually in a pandemic right now. They can't accept that truth and get over it. And they won't accept it, you know? And this is a self-protective instinct, and we shouldn't get mad at them or upset at them because the blatantly obvious is right in front of their face, but they can't see it. They can't see it because they don't want to see it, because they're protecting their psyche. They're protecting themselves. They're protecting their this is how they're coping. This is how they're dealing with it, and because this is the most intensely stressful situation I've ever seen in my life, that attacks each and every person. It attacks each and every person on an individual level, so that you don't even know if you feel safe in your own home. I mean, the neighbor his house might be next door to you, and you can hear him coughing, and every time you hear him cough in his house next door, you're like slamming your windows shut because you're scared the air might come in from his house, and stuff like that. In every neighborhood, this is. People are trying, they go to the grocery store and they're just quivering, looking down the aisles, trying to see anybody coughing. This is stress. Absolute ridiculous amount of stress. And, some people are able to have each individual person has a different way of coping with this. Anyway, silver's at $14.72 today, and it's ridiculously cheap, considering that there's no silver out there to be had. Try to buy silver for $14.72. So what's that price representing? Because you can't buy any at that price. Okay, now it's $14.73. Let's take a look now at gold. 1632. Today it's up 1950. It's still ridiculously cheap for gold and silver, considering what they are, what they represent, and what's going on out there right now, which is absolute. It's going to get worse, guys. The Fed's going to have to keep pumping more and more money in, exaggerated quantities of money, in order to keep these markets buoyed. And then ultimately, when this crisis ends, and as fast as it's moving, it's going to end fast. When this crisis starts to come to an end, the market, they're going to look in front. They're going to see, hey, you know what? They're going to see the numbers starting to decrease, around the world here and there. And they're going to start to jump ahead and front run that, And I think that things are going to start to, the economies and everything, once this thing is gone, this is like a dark cloud. Once this dark cloud's gone, then the economies are going to start to bounce back around the world a little bit, and things might never reach the heights that they were, but I think things are going to come back to a certain degree. Let's take a look now at cryptocurrencies and see how they're doing today. Looking at 183 billion, 66% Bitcoin dominance. And we're looking at a price of 66.34 for Bitcoin. And all the other cryptocurrencies seem to be doing pretty good. Now, I'm going to tell you, you've heard me talking about crypto the last few days and saying it's doing pretty good. And you say, Glenn, come on, it's doing good. It's down so much from where it was. Yeah, but isn't everything else? And considering what happened in the stock market and how these traders were dumping their gold and silver to pay off losses in the stock market. Well, they didn't dump crypto any more than they dumped gold and silver. It means now crypto is getting classified right in there like it's just as good as gold and silver. People don't want to let go of it. In fact, I think probably some of these traders out there sold off their SLV, sold off their GLD to pay for their losses, and they held their crypto back. What does that tell you about crypto? How far it's come since 2009. Back in 2009, a guy bought 7,000 Bitcoins to buy a pizza. And he thought he got a good deal. Now look at where crypto is. So it is doing good. Like I say, it's doing really good considering what a new asset class this is and how it's got adopted to the point where in a crisis, they won't sell it off completely. If it wasn't, excuse me, if it wasn't doing good, the price of crypto right now would probably be about $300 for a Bitcoin if it wasn't doing good. And they would have all sold it all off. But no, it's doing good. 66.34. It's held its value rather well through this crisis. It's amazingly well how good it's done, in my estimation. Okay, now let's take a look at the Dow Jones today, pumped up with cheap, easy money. And the Dow is up today. It's up 874 points, But this isn't over. It's going to get a lot worse out there, this virus. And as it does, we're going to see more fall-offs in the Dow coming up ahead, And this relief we see in the Dow at 22,075. This relief we're seeing in the Dow right now, it's only caused by tremendous stimulus. Soon, I think we're going to see the Dow start to roll back over again. It's going to start to head back down toward 18,000. The Fed's made that mark in the sand. As soon as she goes down below 18,000, if you see a 17,998 or whatever, pow, more money's going to come out from the Fed. And then you'll see the Dow go back up to 21,000 or whatever. Until this crisis is over, they're going to keep playing that game back and forth between 18,000 and 21, 22,000. They'll keep playing that game until this crisis is over. The Fed's got unlimited money. They can keep doing that, and so that's what we're going to see. We're going to see a certain stabilization in the markets, all the markets, until the crisis ends. And that stabilization is going to come from the Exchange Stabilization Fund. Anyway, let's take a look now at oil prices. $23.49. It's down $1 today. Tremendously cheap prices on oil, right now. But they're going to be capping a lot of wells off, especially in the United States. Shale oil production is going to really go into decline now. This is the big ending the big finale for shale oil production right now. I mean, shale oil wells were not really meant to last anyway. What they're basically doing is they're basically draining out the last little bits of oil in these old oil wells that used to be all down through West Texas everywhere, where Standard Oil come in, way back 100 years ago and put all these oil wells everywhere. They'd dig a oil well, and the oil would shoot up into the air 800 feet. It was under such pressure. Well, they pumped all that out until they heard a hissing sound down in the pipe, and then they capped those wells off. And those wells stayed capped for years. Then these shale oil guys come along, uncap those wells, and squeaked out that last little bit of oil that was down there clinging to the rocks and stuff, using steam pressure and stuff, and new modern techniques. Now, basically, those rocks have been scoured so clean of oil, you could eat off of them. So, I mean, it's becoming a losing venture now. The oil's been all drained out most places. Now they found new oil reserves, like in the Permian and places like that. They found new oil reserves, but they're deeper. They're more remote. They're harder to get to, and they require more money to get them. So if we see an oil price go back up, over $100 a barrel, then those new oil reserves will become viable. But for now, with the oil price down like it is, they're just going to be capping wells off. Anyway, let's take a look now at the bond prices. Where is my bonds and rates? Here it is. U.S. Treasuries. Give me a second here. We're looking at falling yields all the way across the board. We're looking at about 2 or 3 basis points, 4 basis points in the middle of the yield curve at the 5-year. It's at 0.50. We're looking at a U.S. 10-year at 0.82, and we're looking at the U.S. 30-year at 1.3, 1.39. Anyway, and the yields are falling today on the treasuries. Let's take a look at the U.S. dollar index. It's fell a little bit. It's down to 100 and ready to start slipping down below 100 again for the U.S. dollar index. Listen, guys, everything is set in position right now with what's going on. The United States now is in for a world of pain. And Canada here, where I live, in for a world of pain right now, But we're going to get through this together. We got a common enemy. It's this virus from China. It came originally from China. This is our common enemy in the whole world. What we need to do is we need to try to treat each other with respect, even though we're under a tremendous amount of stress. This is causing tremendous stress. We need to try to be, there's going to be some people that just basically lose it, You got to be careful how you speak to people now because they're under a lot of stress right now. And you got to try to not let this stress affect you too much on a personal level. I'm going to tell you guys what. There's something out there that can really help you relax and fall asleep at night, And it's natural, very natural. And I use it to help me get to sleep. And it's called ASMR, and you can find it on YouTube. Just put in ASMR. And I'm going to tell you guys what. You get yourself a good quality pair of stereo earphones and go on there and find an ASMR that's like 3-4 hour long ASMR. Slip those stereo headphones on and start listening to that ASMR. It will very slowly relax you. Just listening to it. If you've never tried it before, you don't understand how much it can calm you down. Even if you don't want to be calmed down. Even if you've been drinking all kinds of coffee and you're all hyped up and everything, you listen to ASMR, you can't help yourself. You'll slowly start to calm down. And as you calm down, you'll get sleepier and sleepier, and you'll be able to fall off to sleep. Next thing you know, you're asleep. You might have the headphones still on your ears, and you've passed out asleep. At least you got some sleep. This situation has been robbing people of sleep and causing a tremendous amount of stress, So anyway, thank you guys for listening. Like and subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. We'll catch you guys in the next show. Bye-bye.